This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is January 26, 2023. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke's feeling a little under the weather, but what's up, Luke?
Yeah, you said it. Under the weather. I've been under the weather the last 2 weeks though, so I don't think that it's really worth reporting. But I'm is what it is. So you guys might hear me sniff and things like that. So I do apologize. But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm happy. We have Jonathan Isaac back. You and Kevin obviously did the emergency pod. I had an obligation on Monday, so I had not even watched the entirety of the game. So yeah, I got to kind of just listen to an episode as a listener, which is always fun to be able to just listen to that. You know, you always have that itch as a Magic fan. I'm sure people listening, like, you wake up the next day and you want to listen to something Magic related. So I, got to wake up, listen to the emergency pod. So it was good to kind of, take it as a listener.
So now that you've had the chance to kind of, review and go back and watch all that and experience it for yourself, we didn't get to talk to you about how you were feeling that day, what you were thinking was going to happen in this game. You got to watch him check in, the reception from the fans. You got to watch him play. You got to see the win. You've seen the post game. You've had time to digest everything. Walk us through Luke's Jonathan Isaac return experience.
Probably, I mean, I know similar to y'all's and what you had talked about. I know y'all pretty much had talked about, your expectation for it was just stay healthy, don't get into any trouble, and we're good. Then we just move on to the next one. We don't really care about the box score, although the box score ended up being a treat to everybody. But there was a couple times in terms of him staying healthy that in that game y'all talked about as well. Closed out on, I don't remember who, a Derek White maybe in the corner, I can't remember, and just didn't look like it was going to end well. And he got up off the floor, and as you also alluded to, it's going to take some time to get used to that. But yeah, so that was really my expectation. As far as my feelings about it, I couldn't wait. I mean, you go through the whole day and you're like, man, the Magic are a fun team, and you at this point are still happy to watch them play, and you are excited to, get to that night when you get to watch them play. But it was totally different that day for me. Just way more excited than even normal to be able to watch Jonathan Isaac play, and what that meant. And, I don't know, Jonathan, did you guys, I don't know, I can't remember if you guys talked about it or if we know what the reception was really like in the stands, but Bally went to the cameras, and there were still people sitting, and there was some people standing up, and I was like, why isn't everybody standing? And, it is what it is, but
Boston
that kind of irritated me. But it was even just people around, just Magic fans, just sitting, and while others were, started to stand and they didn't follow suit. So that was a little disappointing. But from what I've heard, I heard the reception was still good, but I just felt like it could have been better. But then obviously the crowd got into it. I had that stretch in the second half that had me off my seat. He hits that corner three, as everybody knows. He pickpockets Jaylen Brown, goes down, dishes to Paolo on the fast break, and he dunks it home. It's that was the stuff that was the future of the franchise, getting to see that. And I think Jonathan Isaac made it quite clear the other night that he is part of the future of this franchise.
Really quick note, you talk about the reception of Jonathan Isaac, were almost to a certain degree, the lack thereof, and there was a lot of green in the crowds. Folks, this is going to rub some people the wrong way, but don't be a season ticket holder if you intend to sell these big game tickets away. Don't go into it oh, I'm going to sell Boston, I'm going to sell LA, I'm going to sell Golden State. That does not help our cause, folks. And if you're going to do that, find some way to verify that you're selling these tickets to Magic fans. Like, I don't know what we need to do to figure that out, but season ticket holders, please stop selling your tickets to opposing teams' fans, if at all possible. I know certain things come up. You can't make the game. You don't want them to go to waste. Fine, but like if you go into this like, oh, I'm going to make money off of these tickets, stop doing that.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, man, like I said, apart from that, Jonathan Isaac solidified that he is part of the future of this team. Did it again. Maybe not as emphatically as he did it against the Celtics, but did it again tonight against the Pacers. It was just incredible to have him back, and great to see that feels like he's going to quickly return to form.
As soon as they bring him off that minutes restriction. Tonight, second game in a row, only played like 8.5 minutes. I was like, we could have used him in that fourth for sure. But we'll talk. You know, we didn't really cover, Kevin and I, the Celtics game a ton. We really just focused on Jonathan Isaac, understandably so. So we'll recap that game a little bit further into the episode. And, of course, we'll talk about the Pacers game from tonight. But we've got an awesome, exciting announcement for you guys. At our last watch party, people were coming up like, hey, what's going on? Is this the last watch party of the year? These have been amazing. We want more. We've got another one coming up, and it's coming up pretty soon. Coming up on February the 3rd, I believe that is next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday when the Magic are in Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're having another watch party with the Orlando Magic and Michelob Ultra. The location is to be determined, but it's going to be at 7:30. Tip-off for that game is at 8 o'clock. So mark your calendar for February 3rd at 7:30. You're busy that night. You're coming to the Six Man Show watch party. Ben Gifford, who is our event coordinator, will be there. Luke and I, you know, we're not able to make it that night. As you all know, we don't live in Orlando. We're not able to make it that night. But do not let that deter you from coming out to this. Number one, if you want more watch parties, you've got to make sure that this is going to be a banger. I know we're going to be there in spirit. I know Ben is going to take over my chant leading duties, so he'll make sure the energy is correct. And this is your opportunity to be around a ton of other Magic fans. And then coming up on March 3rd is going to be another watch party. So February 3rd, March 3rd, when the Magic are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets, we're going to have another watch party. Again, location is to be determined. We will update you all as soon as we have further details. That one is going to be at 6:30. Tip-off to that game is at 7 o'clock. So February 3rd, 7:30, March 3rd, 6:30. Mark your calendars. We're going to have some watch parties. It's going to be a great time. Luke, let's talk about the state of the Magic. So far this week, the Magic have gone 2-0 on the week, bringing them to a record of 19-29. They have the 5th worst record in the league. They are 13th in the Eastern Conference, currently 3.5 games back of Chicago for the final play-in spot. Like, that lead starts to grow, and then the Magic make up a little bit of ground. We need Chicago to lose. We need Washington to lose, Atlanta to lose, the Pacers to keep losing, and the Magic need to keep winning. We need to keep this momentum going and close that gap even more. So far on the season, the Magic have an offensive rating of 111.7. If you're not familiar with offensive and defensive rating, offensive rating is a stat that tells you how many points per 100 possessions do the Magic score. Defensive rating is how many points per 100 possessions do the Magic give up to their opponent. That's your little advanced analytics lesson here. So the Magic have an offensive rating of 111.7, which ranks 24th in the league. They have a defensive rating of 114.7, which ranks 24th in the league. Their overall net rating is -3, which is 26th in the league. On the injury report, the shortest injury report we've had all season, it is just Chuma Okeke currently, who is still out. He had that chondroplasty to kind of clean up the cartilage inside of his left knee. He started to slowly reintegrate back into basketball activities. He's probably still at least a few weeks away, but just follow the Magic PR, and follow us on Twitter if you don't do that already, at Six Man Show. If you don't follow us on social media accounts, pause the episode right now. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us everywhere at Six Man Show, or just type in the Six Man Show wherever you are. You'll be able to find us. So Chuma Okeke still out. Hopefully he'll be back in a few weeks. Jonathan Isaac now off of the injury report for the first time in 2.5+ years. A little bit more news, not injury related, but as we're starting to get closer to the trade deadline. So the trade deadline is it's 2 weeks from tomorrow, actually. It's going to be February 9th at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer reported today that Mo Bamba is readily available in trade discussions since his minutes have become more and more sparing over the course of the last couple of weeks here. Not a big surprise to us. We've gone through it with Mo Bamba, for 5 seasons now, I believe. And he's just not consistent enough, at least for this roster where we have other guys like Jonathan Isaac, who eventually is going to take more and more minutes from Mo Bamba. Moritz Wagner, who, say what you want about the ceiling of Mo Wagner and Mo Bamba. Mo Wagner is just a more consistent player at this point. You know what you're going to get from him basically every single night. And because of a lot of those reasons, it seems like Mo Bamba, more often than not, Luke, has found himself on the outside looking in, even though, tonight he got some minutes, and just seems like every 2 or 3 games he'll be out there for 12, 15 minutes, whatever.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting just to obviously just see what happens with him at deadline. We know he's a primed candidate. Last 10 games, he has played 12 minutes. And he had actually quite a few 20 minutes in the Lakers game, which was like that 10th one, 10th furthest away. So in his last 9 games, Jonathan, he's played 11.4 minutes a game. So just seems like right now Mosley's trying to shore up his rotation, figure out who goes where. And this is what I talked about, man. Like once we get into these shorter rotations, we're going to see less of these guys, and it's going to force Mosley's hand to see less of these guys when Jonathan Isaac, and obviously Mosley doesn't mind if his hand's forced in this way. Jonathan Isaac's minutes get increased and Mo Bamba were to get dealt. Like you're going to see this rotation all of a sudden go overnight from 11-man rotation to 8 or 9. And I think it'll be 9, but we'll see. Terrence Ross, a lot of DMPs lately. I'm interested to see if we get any reports on him being traded or if that's just something on deadline day that we see T. Ross gets traded, because obviously the Magic are not valuing him in terms of the rotation. Gary Harris has stepped in. Obviously, he's been in the starting lineup for a while now, but we saw tonight against the Pacers. He's offering something that T. Ross used to give us. And in terms of just energy, great shot making ability in terms of from the perimeter. He's great, man. So I would be shocked to see that Terrence Ross doesn't get traded, but maybe not shocked, but I wouldn't be surprised in the least if he is gone on deadline day.
Yeah, definitely still going to be a while till Mosley's able to tighten the rotation that much to 9 guys, especially as Jonathan Isaac continues to ramp up in playing time. I mean, 2 games in a row now, this kind of 8 to 10 minutes restriction, and he made it seem pre-game that it was going to be like this for a little bit. I don't know how much longer, because I'm just watching this fourth quarter, and I'm watching the Pacers start to get some easy buckets, and I'm like, this team just looks completely different with Jonathan Isaac on the floor, at least defensively. Holding his own offensively, I think he'll continue to get better in that regard, and he's still coming along defensively. There are a couple of plays tonight, like TJ McConnell drove like the right side of the lane and just stopped for like a little fall away, and I'm like, 3 years ago, J.I. is going after that, and that's a block shot. It's 3 rows deep. So still getting that timing back, but the more that his minutes start to increase, I do think the rotation is going to tighten quite a bit, and that's when the Magic are really going to hit their stride, I think, and really put together a nice string of wins as we start to get closer to the end of the season. But that's just some stuff to keep an eye on. Like you mentioned, Terrence Ross, Mo Bamba, wouldn't be surprised to see those guys moved at the trade deadline. Gary Harris, even though the Magic have the ability to get out of his contract in the summer, I don't see them moving on from him. He's just been playing so well. He continues to play this well. It's hard to move on from him in the summer. You got him another year at $13 million. Like, that's great value for a guy that is giving you what Gary Harris has been giving you when he's been healthy. Now, he's missed a lot of games this year. He's got to stay healthy for the rest of the season. But again, Gary has been absolutely fantastic. Luke, let's talk about our patrons, the folks who help financially support the show and help us do all of the things that we love to do. If you're unfamiliar with the show and you're new to the show, if you'd like to help financially support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/the Six Man Show. For $2 a month plus some other tiers that we have, you can just support the show really, really basic. Or if you select one of those other tiers, you can get additional benefits like getting shout outs on every single episode that we have. Some of our tiers have access to our Discord channel, our monthly Zoom hangouts that we have with our members, and you can even get up to 35% off discounts for Magic home games. So that's another perk that we offer some of our elite tier patrons. So again, patreon.com/the Six Man Show. Brandon and Markel Magic, both of those guys joined at our All-Star tier this week. So thank you guys so much for joining the Patreon, part of our Hall of Fame tier, or All-Star tier, I'm sorry, that you all are part of. You have access to our Discord channel, so make sure that you guys, if you don't have a Discord already, go ahead and make an account, connect that to your Patreon, and then you can come in and talk Orlando Magic basketball. We've got about 30 to 40 guys in there at any given time talking about the Orlando Magic. It's always a good time. So thank you so much to Brandon and Markel Magic. And then we shout out our Hall of Fame tier and our Elite tier patrons on every single episode. I'm going to go ahead and start it off with shouting out the Court Cousins, Armin, Carson Tulo, Jonathan Borges, Normal, Magic Player History, Julio, Joseph Chubb, Bailey, Gabe Gaines, Bo Outlaw Fan, Wiffle, Michael Martin, Jamel Miller, Michael Salapong, Franz Godefasho, Ryan Singh, The Distract, Mo Bamba, Yo Mama, It's Not Okay to say Okiki, Pierre A. Migzors, Nostalgia and M&M's, Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Lil Penny, Eduardo Sanchez, Drum, Danimal, Dutto15, Bobby Skinner, Nate Donnelly, Goody93, Teddy Sylvia, Brian Leggins, Eric Lopez, Fuchsia, Juan Geraldo, Bill Fulton, Edmund Lagone, Hosea Squealan, Destined for Greatness, Caleb Pete, Cannibalism, Time Mr. TV, Brandon Grace, Chat3045, Joe Rothfuss, ESPN Really Sucks, Gear95 Shred, Junior Bruce, Half Rican, Fredo Nation, Shahin177, Bolby the Don, Himlo, Ban Himro, RMprov221, Ray Pastrana, Magic Kid 714, Let's Spank Don't Tank, Soft Taco, Jesse, and Barry M. Thank you so much to our Elite tier patrons and our Hall of Fame tier patrons, and a big shout out to all of our patrons. Find our Patreon at patreon.com/the Six Man Show. Luke, the other night, Kevin and I spent the majority of time after the Celtics game talking about Jonathan Isaac. Understandably so. It had been 904 days since his last game with the Orlando Magic. So we didn't spend too much time kind of recapping the game. Incredible performance from the Magic defensively, holding the Boston Celtics to 98 points. I think I read somewhere that the Celtics have like 4 games this year where they've scored under 100 points, and 2 of them have come against the Orlando Magic. The Boston Celtics, after this game, had 13 losses on the entire season, 3 of those coming to the Orlando Magic. Again, 113-98. Really able to win this game pretty comfortably. Again, the night that Jonathan Isaac returns. Paolo Banchero, 23 points. Wendell Carter, 21 points. 18 points off the bench for Cole Anthony. He was fantastic in this game as well. And just a big win for the Orlando Magic over the defending Eastern Conference champions. And you win the season series 3-1, Luke.
I will say, as of late, this team has obviously been doing some things pretty well, especially these last couple games, shooting the lights out from 3, comparatively, right? Like, I don't know if this is updated for tonight, but essentially on the year, the Magic are 22nd in the league at in the 3-point percentage at 34.9%. The last 10 games, the Magic are shooting 38.5% from 3. Their last 10 games. So they're just doing that super well, and it's nice to see. Essentially, let's see here. In the Pacers game, 15 of 28 from 3. Celtics, 11 of 27 from 3, good for 40%. Like, they're maybe not taking as many, or they're not taking more threes per se, but they are essentially making more, right? Like, that percentage is higher than what it has been able to do that, which was nice. Obviously against the Celtics, man, the Celtics, Eddie House, they're just in shambles. They're in shambles. They don't know what to do. They lose the next night to Miami. Just beautiful poetry. And yeah, I mean, good to be able to have their number. I just want to see this, obviously stretch out over time in terms of bleeding over into other games. You win the game you're supposed to tonight. Like, I don't know, man. Right now, this team looks good. Like you said, Paolo, 23 points, despite Tatum, scoring 26 and Brown scoring 26. You're able to escape and, not even escape. You're able to get the win. You win handily by 15. Play really well in that second half. You outscored Boston in that second half by, I think, like 14 or 15 or something like that. And yeah, man, the only quarter you get beat against Boston was the second quarter. So just super impressive showing by the Magic, and I'm happy to see that they were able to get the win. I really did not expect the Magic to get the win because figured Boston would give the Magic all they could handle, barring considering that they had lost the last two.
My favorite thing about this win is after the game, the Boston media really in totality, just the amount of copium that they were huffing after this game. Like, oh, they're looking ahead to Miami. They weren't taking this team seriously. So you're telling me the, at the time, 17-win Orlando Magic, who just beat you twice on your home floor a month ago in consecutive games, you didn't take that team seriously. I don't buy that for a second. Like, for whatever reason, the Magic just happened to match up well with the Boston Celtics. 3-1, you win the season series. You have their broadcasters like Eddie House trashing the Magic after that second game of the year. And by the way, you almost beat the Boston Celtics in your home opener back in October. Like, if Cole Anthony doesn't miss that dunk in the fourth quarter, that play felt like it just sucked all of the momentum out of the building and out of the team. If he jams that home and the Magic are in the middle of coming back in that game, that momentum might have carried you to a victory. And potentially, I think if you win that game, you probably don't play as well against this team for like the rest of the season. But if you win that game, like, arguably you might sweep Boston this season. And the cop out that Orlando is just a bad team, like, just tell us that you don't care about the Magic and that you haven't been paying attention all year. And like, other teams have been injured. Like, no. It's not even it's not comparable. I don't care what team you name. Whoever is in second, it is so far of a distant second that it is irrelevant. So anytime that people, we were shorthanded, we lost to the Magic, you will get zero sympathy from Magic fans. And Boston media is just the worst of the worst of the worst. And even though there are guys that I like on the Celtics, like I like Jason Tatum, I like Jaylen Brown, I like Rob Williams, like I like some of the guys on their team, I want them to lose just because I hate the people that cover that team.
Yeah. That I mean, at this point, you look at it, the Celtics after that game had 13 losses on the year, and 3 of them came to the Magic. Was it over 20% of your losses come to the Magic?
It's a hard pill to swallow.
It is, and I get it. You're frustrated. You lost to us, but at this point, people are starting to figure out that the Magic are much better. And to some of their credit, there are people in replies on Twitter that are Celtics fans that were like, the Magic are better than their record implies. It's like, yeah, well, thank you. I know you might be trying to make yourself feel better that you lost to the Magic and kind of like overcompensating for what the other side of you guys are doing. But at the same time, you're the smart one. The Magic are better than their record at full strength. And is what it is, man. There's a lot of times where I said this the other day in the group chat. I said something to the effect of like, I really wish we could have those first 25 games of the season back. It's like 5-20. It's a big hole to dig, and it's you got to get out of it. And so far, I mean, even a couple games ago, before the Magic showed me they could beat the Celtics again, despite feeling like we really weren't gaining much ground as of late, you're starting to feel like you're in a pretty good spot. And it's going to be interesting to see if the Magic can do it. It's still going to be very tough because the Magic still have quite a few teams ahead of them. And you got to play more than 500 basketball for sure to go the length. And, since Markel's been back, the Magic have been 500, now one game over 500. So you got to play better than 500 basketball to make the play-in, in my opinion. And we're going to see if they can do it. I'd love to see a win streak happen after, kind of coming from the Celtics and Pacers wins.
So 19 and 29 now. You're 48 games through the season. You've got 34 games left. You're just three wins away from your entire last season's win total. And you are 8 games away from surpassing that 26.5 win total that Vegas put on the Magic to start the year. The Magic aren't bad. It's for some teams, for some fan bases, that's tough to swallow. You know what's not tough to swallow? Papa John's, baby. Because after every Magic victory the next day, you can get 50% off your online order of Papa John's with code MAGICWIN. You don't even have to be in Orlando. You can be up to 150 miles from Orlando as long as you are further than 75 miles from Miami. Again, 50% off Papa John's, your online order, every day after Magic victories, Luke.
I can't, dude.
You know what you can? You can talk about this Indiana Pacers game from tonight. The Magic win 126-120 at home over the Indiana Pacers, their second win in a row. It was a good win. Indiana's second night of a back-to-back after they lost, or did they beat Chicago the night before? I don't remember.
They came back.
They came back and they beat the Chicago Bulls. That's correct. So you beat Chicago, quick flight to Orlando, second night of a back-to-back. That's what a home road. No, they were in Indiana the night before, not in Chicago. That is a home road back-to-back. That's what we call a scheduled loss. The Magic were up by 17 in the first half, and you're thinking, oh, the Magic are just going to cruise to a victory. Wasn't necessarily the case. Turnovers, second chance opportunities for the Indiana Pacers. Defense wasn't phenomenal tonight. Indiana shot, I think, 48% from the floor. I think it was 42% from the three-point line, if I'm not mistaken. Magic didn't play perfect, but this was a team that you have to have this game. No Tyrese Halliburton for the Indiana Pacers. They've been struggling as of late. You need this game. They're ahead of you in the standings. You need to win this game. Magic didn't play perfect. They did give up the big lead, but Luke, to me, this game never felt like Indiana really threatened the Magic. Even when it was a 2-point game, even when it was a 4-point game, whatever, I still felt very confident the entire game the Magic were going to be able to pull this out.
It has been such a long time since because I know what you're talking about, right? Like any fan that is in tune with this team and watching these games knows what you're talking about. In terms of like, oh, we're only up by 2. It feels like, we could put on step on the gas at any point and take care of this game. Obviously, no Halliburton, and that goes a long way, and that plays a huge part of it. But I don't think that that's a mindset that we have at all last year at any point.
Or
we're
even during that 5-25 stretch. Or
exactly.
5-20 stretch to start the
5
season.
and 20. Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like, oh, we're up by 2. It feels like we're down by 15. Tonight, it was we're up by 2. It feels like we're up by 15. And that's really like, when I get real stressed, Jonathan, I stand up and I'm pacing. I'm watching the game, closing minutes of the game, not even closing minutes, like start of the fourth quarter. If the game's close, I'm pacing the entire fourth quarter around my house. And then, but like with games like this, up 2, I was fine. I was just lounging back on my comfy couch, texting you guys about the game, voicing my praise and my frustration for certain players. And that was it. But I still felt like the Magic were in control of the game. And it says a lot. It says a lot, especially after that first half where you have such a high in the first half, right? You score 46 points in that first quarter, and then you give up 39 in the second quarter, and you score 27. Like, to bounce back from that, the Magic put the clamps on the Pacers in the third quarter. The Pacers score just 23 points in that third quarter. The Magic score 29. And like at that point, I was like, oh, for sure. Like I don't have any type of doubt. Like if you were going to collapse it's going to be in that third quarter after you gave up a big second quarter after scoring as many points as you did in the first. There was a lot of opportunity for the Magic to falter, and they got complacent in that second quarter, no doubt. They built that lead, but I love to see a sense of urgency after you mess up, after something doesn't go your way, and something like the Magic were fully at fault for what happened in that second quarter. The intensity just wasn't there. They came out great, but you got to do that for all 4 quarters. That's what this team's learning. But I love the way the Magic were able to stick it to Indiana defensively in that third quarter, and it propelled them to win the game.
And the Magic just shoot the crap out of the ball in this game, particularly your boy Gary Harris. Magic 56% from the floor. Gary. Yeah, 56% from the floor, 53% from the three-point line. You missed some free throws, but kind of ended up being non-consequential in this game. 17 turnovers. That was really the big part for me, the major downside. Jamal Mosley talked about it after the game, talking about how they were playing so unselfishly. I believe it was a season-high 34 assists for the Magic, but just kind of overpassing at time, which led to some of those turnovers. But 17 turnovers, that just can't happen if you want to win these games. Now, the Magic shot the ball so well in this one, it didn't really much matter. Gary Harris, 22 points, 8 of 9 from the floor, 6 of 6 from behind the arc. I don't remember the last time, like Kevin mentioned this during the game. I don't remember the last time a guy shot like that for the Magic.
Found it. Magic PR. It's a great follow for stats like this. Magic PR put out Orlando Magic guard Gary Harris went a perfect 6 for 6 from the 3-point line tonight, tying the team record for the most threes in a game without a miss. Who was the other one? It was.
Let me guess. I'm just gonna say JJ Redick.
Air France. Petrus.
Okay. Right era, wrong player.
6 of 6 from beyond the arc on April 1st, 2010 at Dallas.
I like that.
So Gary Harris putting a his name next to a little bit of a record there for the Magic for sure. I love this dude. I got into a small argument the other day because I had time on my personal Twitter with somebody that was trying to discredit Gary Harris. They're like, he doesn't even score double digits. And it's like, well, he's not a star. What do you want him to do? He's the 5th option in the starting lineup. Give him a break. I love Gary Harris. He plays his butt off on defense. Dude has some crazy hand. Like pause. But if you
Papa John's.
if you watch Gary Harris defensively, it is not necessarily like things that are super eye popping, but you can just see how quickly he's able to get a deflection, get his hand on the ball, whatever it might be. But you have to actually watch him defensively. You can't just watch the box score to know what Gary Harris is providing for this team. Defensively, I love what he's able to do. Offensively, he can shoot incredibly well, as we know. He showed it tonight. At this point before tonight, he was shooting 42.5% from 3 on 3.5 attempts a game. What else do you want this guy to do, Jonathan? What else do they want him to do? That's Gary, and I love him. So these people need to watch their mouths talking about Gary Harris, because I think he's the vet that this team needs.
I think it's so funny that when we first traded for Gary Harris, the thing that you were like most excited about, you're like, oh, look at his layup package. I was like, that has got to be the lamest thing to ever be excited about for a player that's coming. This guy's layup package is crazy. And it's like he hardly ever lays up not hardly ever, maybe like once or twice a game, but like shooting primarily is what he's been providing for the Magic the last couple of seasons. And like you said, he's just been shooting the crap out of the ball.
To be fair, I was excited for him from 3 as well. All right. And he's been able to do it. And there were some doubters. I didn't forget you. And you. I'm talking to you, Jonathan. You were like,
don't even start. You literally
shooter.
said the dude would miss throwing me in a trash can last year.
He was shooting terrible.
All right, so don't make it seem like it was all me.
I'm just saying, when he came over, I wasn't just concerned about his layup package. I had seen, obviously, he shot 42% on 4.5 threes a game in his 3rd year in the league. It's there. It's down there. And that's what I wanted. I wanted Gary Harris 3-point attempts, and we got it tonight, baby. All aboard the Gary Harris train.
In my defense, before being traded to the Magic, the dude had went 4 seasons without shooting over 35% from 3. So it's not like this was some kind of unfounded accusation I was making against Gary Harris. He had not shot the ball well in a very long time, and
I knew it was in
something
there.
About that Florida sunshine, baby. That
I never doubted you, baby.
It's those summer showers.
Only for a second.
Now that boy is wet. So
that's right.
So again, Gary Harris, 22 points, 6 of 6 from the floor. But Paolo Banchero, 23 points tonight, 6 of 14 from the floor, but 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Just incredible, his efficiency getting to the free throw line. Wendell Carter Jr., the Wen Daddy, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 7 of 10. I want to talk a little bit more about Jonathan Isaac. So 5 points tonight in 8 minutes, added a rebound, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Should have been 3 assists. Mo Bamba, looking at you, buddy. But Jonathan Isaac.
Real quick, you know what's crazy about that? I didn't even know that Bamba missed the layup until I found out basically contextually through text with y'all and Twitter, because I legitimately, he made the pass. I was like, that's a great pass. And then I looked down and then I look back up and we're going to the other end of the floor. And I was like, what just happened? And then you guys are texting, you're like, wow, Mo. And I was like, whoa, he missed? Because he got the ball and I was like, oh, okay. So I still haven't even seen the miss. But I know it happened, obviously. But I just it blew my mind that could have been a miss based off the pass I saw J.I. give him.
He had one from Markel that he bobbled, wasn't able to convert on, which was a great look. The one from Jonathan Isaac. Am I just forgetting that Jonathan Isaac is capable of making like these insane passes? Like we saw him make a really nice pass to R.J. Hampton in his Lakeland debut. He had a nice pass to Paolo on the fast break this last game, and the pass to Mo tonight was just like, Jonathan, I didn't know you had that in your bag, player. What's up with that? But no, like he had back-to-back plays tonight where there was like a lob attempt at the rim that he broke up, and then the very next play, I forget who it was. Was it Buddy Hield or Neesmith or Mathurin? I forget who it was, but he was matched up with someone on the perimeter, and just like he did against Jaylen Brown, they try to go into this like crossover package, and the hands are still there. Like his timing and his legs and like chasing down blocks isn't quite there, but like the on-ball stuff, he had a sequence tonight where he was guarding Ben Mathurin, guarding Ben Mathurin, and then got switched on a Buddy Hield, I believe it was, and just shut both of those guys down, ended up with a 24-second shot clock violation on Indiana. And he's not all the way there yet. I understand that, and I'm trying to remind myself, not because he looks bad in any type of sense, but it's just 2 games after missing 900-plus days.
Turnaround's there, though.
The turnaround is there, but he's going to continue to get better. Like he's still, and he's going to have games where he doesn't look that great. Let's remember that. That is, unless something crazy happens and he just never has a bad game for the rest of his life, I would be fine with that. Odds are we're going to be like, oh, he wasn't that great tonight, but let's not overreact. We're going to have these ups and downs with Jonathan as we go through the rest of this season. I'm sure like by next season, the start of next season, he'll probably be like basically all the way back. But like, it's crazy that he's going to continue to improve and he doesn't look at all bad right now. Like, I'm like, he's back, but he's kind of hurting us when he's on the floor. Like, no, like he's looking awesome and the team is better when he's on the floor. At some point, I want to see this Markel, Franz, Markel, Franz, J.I., Paolo, Wendell. I want to see that at some point, even if it's just for a couple of minutes. I need to see it.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's like he looks like it's such a small sample size. That's the other thing too. Is like that's why you can't be too high or too low. You really can just see things that he does in the game, and you're like, oh wow! Like with more minutes, he'll be able to continuously contribute because he does these things well. He defends well. He still can defend. He can get the steals off of crossovers, go to the other end, make the right read on the fast break. He still is able to do that. And maybe his vision's better. Maybe his passing is just better, right? Than we saw him 2.5 years ago. He's had a lot of time to work on a lot of different things during this rehab process, and he's showing it. The turnaround is just gross, and I just feel like it's going in every time he takes it. So I don't know, man. With more volume of minutes, obviously we'll be able to make better judgment. But from the things that you can take just in instances and flashes, it's all we've got right now, and it looks promising. And he looks great, all things considered.
Right now, just in 2 games, but he's 3 for 5 from behind the arc after going, I think, 1 for 12 in his stint with the Lakeland Magic. Not saying
that was crazy.
Yeah, not saying he's going to be like a 60% 3-point shooter moving forward. Like, we know that's not going to be the case. But if he's now like a 37% 3-point shooter, that's massive for the Magic. He's not going to be asked to do a ton. He's in the lineup with Markel and Paolo and Franz. If he can, score 15 points a game, relatively efficient, 50% on twos, 37% on threes, we're going to be doing pretty well, especially the way that he's looked defensively. But what's really crazy is I'm on NBA.com right now, and I'm looking at Jonathan Isaac's player profile. When you look at his last 5 games, January 25th, 2023, January 23rd, 2023, August 2nd, 2020. It's so crazy to look at that and be like, man, this dude missed so much time, but doesn't really look like he's missed a beat so far. Super exciting, super encouraged by the early returns on Jonathan Isaac. We do have to stay patient. The bad game is coming. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Maybe it's an act of God, and that would be the most Jonathan Isaac thing ever. But
well, I'm looking at one thing here. I'm sorry to interrupt. And this is very much like a not important point, but it's just what I'm thinking. I'm looking at StatMuse, and I'm like, StatMuse doesn't have a little character for Jonathan Isaac. There is not one. It's like, I know he's been gone, but can we get one now?
StatMuse is so young that it wasn't around for Jonathan Isaac.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they started doing those.
I think it's just the last couple of seasons that StatMuse has been around.
That's got to be why. We got to tweet at StatMuse and be like, hey, we need our boy. I need to see that big beard on my StatMuse.
If you didn't see Jonathan Isaac before the ACL, she's too young for you, bro. That's come on. Come on, StatMuse. Good grief. I saw a tweet.
That was
yeah. And I think on Twitter his name was Young Mayo, which is hilarious, by the way. I haven't verified this, but he tweeted this out and seems like a pretty stat savvy kind of guy. I can get my spidey sense goes off after a couple of seconds at looking at any one person's Twitter profile. This might not be correct, but if it is, it's fantastic and it's insane. He tweeted a list of players this season in 10 minutes to score 10 points and record 2 steals in a single game in 10 minutes or less. You want to know what that list is?
Yep.
Jonathan Isaac, and that's it.
That's the list.
That's if you haven't been around for the Jonathan Isaac that we have made to be this mythical creature, if you weren't around to watch that, stats like that is what this kid does. And it doesn't make any sense, and it's insane, and that's why we love him, and we believe he has so much potential, because he just does stuff that other people don't do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
maybe that's right, maybe it's not. But if it is, that's crazy. If it's not, then forget I said it. Luke,
we're pushing propaganda here. Don't bother us.
Yeah, always that. Let's take a look at the games the rest of the week here. On Friday, you're in Miami to take on the Heat. That game tips off at 8 o'clock. And then you got a back-to-back. So instead of a home road, you got a road home back-to-back. You're in Miami, and then quick flight back home. You face off against the Chicago Bulls on Saturday. How are we feeling? I know you You had us beating Indiana this week, I believe it was, and then you had us losing the other 3 games. How do we feel about these games here?
I feel it's a good thing we started 2-0, Jonathan, on the week, because I don't know, man. The Heat, I believe, have rest from yesterday till Friday, and I know we got some rest, but the Heat, not a bad team. They're getting rest. Then you got to turn around and play the Bulls on Saturday. I think on paper, like, we obviously have proven that we can beat the Bulls, but at the same time, that back-to-back, that's rough. And the Bulls are not coming off a back-to-back. So it's just tough, man. Any type of back-to-back situation with a young team, you never really know what's going to happen, what to expect. I think both of these are losses, unfortunately.
I'm going to turn the recency bias up to, like, the recency bias slider up to 100 right now, mainly because I hate the Heat and I would love to beat the Heat in Miami. So their last win, so they beat the Boston Celtics by 3. When was that? So that was last night. So they beat the Boston Celtics. So they had a back-to-back. The Celtics did. They beat the Celtics by 3. The Magic beat the Celtics by 15. The game before that, they beat New Orleans by 4, 100-96. The Magic beat the Pelicans by, was it 13? If I'm not mistaken.
Are we doing this?
13, 123 to 110. History shows the Magic are better than the Heat. All right? That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I would love to see the Magic pick up a win. You're gonna lose one of these games. You know, the Miami game or the Chicago game. You very likely could lose both of these games. I would be very pleasantly surprised if the Magic sweep this back-to-back and sweep the week. I have in my heart of hearts, I have to believe the Magic beat the Heat on Friday for my well-being.
Oh,
I'm closing on my house on Friday.
Next 2 games,
that would be top 10 days of my entire life. Close on my house and beat the Miami Heat. That would be awesome.
The Magic if the Magic win Friday and then they close the gap even further in the standings with the Bulls by beating them, obviously those games are the most important. We're pushing that playoff propaganda so hard if the Magic win back-to-back and go 4-0 on the week.
So the Bulls play Charlotte tomorrow. Saturday, it feels kind of like a must-win. Like that would be so big to pick up a game against the Bulls like that, especially if they
can we phone in a favor
Charlotte.
to our best friend Nikola Vucevic. Let him know what the circumstances are. Hey, listen,
I don't want to get disrespectful, but he did kind of help us out earlier in the season, missing those 2 free throws, and Jalen hits the game winner. I don't know. Yeah. Vooch has done quite a lot for your boys recently. Coming on the show and whatnot. Breaking kind of national news.
That's right.
Pretty crazy. I think we're good on the Vooch favors for now. I think we probably need to hold off on sending that one.
I think Saturday would be nice to get one.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be there.
If this is a must win, I will be there. I would love to see the win.
All right. Well, folks, like I said, I'm closing on my house on Friday, and I won't have internet until Monday. So Monday's episode, you're rocking with Luke Sylvia and Kevin Tucker. It's gonna be one for the ages. I'm looking forward to listening to that one.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
A couple of things before we sign off here. Again, watch party coming up next Friday, February 3rd, when the Magic take on Minnesota. Location is to be determined, but it's going to be at 7:30. Make sure you come out for that. And then March 3rd, circle your calendar again, when the Magic are in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. We're going to have another watch party. Location to be determined. We're waiting to hear back on that. We'll pass along further details. Again, February 3rd, 7:30. March 3rd, 6:30. Make sure you clear your schedule, mark your calendars, come out to the watch party. Going to be a lot of fun. And Luke, I think that's going to be it for us.
That's good. I appreciate y'all on YouTube who have struggled along watching me go off screen to blow my nose and rub my eyes. And
get some sleep. Take some NyQuil. Do something with yourself.
I've been trying.
Yeah.
Just won't leave me alone.
All right, feel better. All right, that's going to do it for us, folks. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You guys are listening to The Six Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!